This story will cover from then to now and next, all about change, how to turn losers into winners. Dubai has a reputation of rampant growth, but is it doomed to become a ghost city when archaeologists of the future find another empty place, like Machu Picchu or Easter Island, and wonder what went terribly wrong? Here you can spend £3.4 million. That's not for the car, but for its number plate, with only the digit 1. As the customer, Mr. Zarouni, said, "My ambition is always to be number 1. Well, that's Dubai. With its famous shopping malls, ever bigger, ever consuming, a Hermes handbag for £208,000. They say Victoria Beckham has 100, allegedly. Beyonce's shoes for £200,000. Some perfume, madam? That'll be £150,000 a go. But as fashion designer Stella McCartney says, and she should know, fashion is one of the most harmful industries on the planet. Well, of course, we wouldn't set out to exterminate a species, but consumerism does just that, through direct greed or damage to the animal's home. People are asking more questions now, but many don't care and buy on regardless. And as we multiply, the demand, or call it greed, grows all the time, and is certainly not sustainable, that magic word. Greed, growth, and going nowhere. Well, maybe. But so is Dubai, that extraordinary ecosystem. Sustainable? Or is it doomed? And another load of cars arrives. They've come in via the Straits of Hormuz, a vital lifeline for all sorts of traffic, especially oil. Sensitive Iran is on one side, the UAE on the other. This stream of shipping supplies Dubai, its occupants, its malls, its everything. And don't forget the planes, like the gulls, ever present in the sky over Dubai. All kinds of merchandise comes and goes in the creek, not always carefully placed. There's a lot of trade nearby in Qasab, Oman. This is all rather odd. Sheep are being unloaded, then loaded, and it's not just for a day out. The police are there too. Empty boats are milling about as if waiting. This is what they're waiting for. Lots of action now. The gulls too. They've spotted a shoal of small fish. The boats are nearly ready to go. The deal is sheep. For TVs, booze, clothes, in fact anything to avoid sanctions. This smuggling, you could say, is supervised by the police. In the afternoon, the smugglers set off as a pack, then later get into a line on the Dubai side of the Straits of Hormuz. That journey will be fast and often dangerous. That's more about the weather and the waves than military might, patrolling this vital oil pipeline of the sea. Cruising is increasingly popular, with more and more stuff consumed. Victoria Beckham is unlikely to be on this ship. She over 100 handbags, costing £1.5 million. The smuggling speedboats trading handbags for sheep across the Straits of Hormuz are heading for Iran to beat the sanctions that starve that great oil producer. But the future of oil is in doubt today. Handbags back in Dubai. This is a regular afternoon feed. The flamingos are okay for now, but future sea level rise could flood their nesting lagoons. Gulls can fly and land anywhere they like, as Emirates increasingly do. And that's part of the same increasing problem: air pollution, global warming and sea level rise. The flamingos' lagoons that may be flooded may become a new piece of valuable real estate called the lagoons, with the Ras Al Khor an attractive add-on. A tall tower and a tall bird. What a combination. With all that shopping just down the road. Because of course it's business and money that drives Dubai ever onwards and upwards, reaching the sky above, as the planet now discovers as the climate changes. From Dubai to all over the world. part of the problem starts far away from Britain and Dubai. As the ice melts at both poles, raising sea levels worldwide, and as more fossil fuels are burnt, the planet is warming up. It's a vicious circle.
The people from the south are interested in our riches, oil and gas and mineral resources. 10 years ago, we have experienced a change in the weather, and we didn't know that the bad weather was just coming like it always do. But we ended up studying in it, and we now know that it is part of a climate change. The ice is melting, the animal migrations have changed. So we are in a situation of transition. And our fight today is to adapt to new situation. And it's a graying situation, because we just a generation ago adapted to new modern way of life, and now the climate change is coming on top of that. Like now, we have a chance to do something, and that's now.
Now, obviously, some people are going to say you've come here for this purpose about climate change, but you yourself have flown here to get to Stansted.
Exactly. I'm not against flying at all, and I'm not against leisure trips, but we have to organize it in another way.
I say this deliberately in front of the US Embassy. Using military force to corner the world's remaining sources of oil is in the Middle East, the Caspian and elsewhere, is just about the worst possible policy on every single count. Horrendous humanitarian disaster in Iraq. It will lead to more wars when what the world wants is more peace. And it will create a global warming turbo. Tens of thousands, millions, as Phil said, of people in this country know that there is a better way, and that's what we have come here today to demand. The greatest threat facing our planet, that climate change is speeding up and is rapidly reaching the point where many scientists think that it will be irreversible. The Siberian permafrosts are beginning to melt, the Antarctic ice sheet is beginning to break up. The Amazon rainforest is beginning to show early signs of dieback.
Listen, what would happen if the whole ice cap of Greenland melted? You would be underwater. The time is now. Tomorrow, it'd be too late.
We have very little time in our hand. Climate is changing very fast.
The country has been affected by a lot of conflicts, and we have over than 1 million people displaced, internally displaced. Most of them are displaced due to climate change, and others because of conflict. And most of them are very, very poor. The level of life, many people live under below $1 for their daily life.
$11 million for a Christmas tree. People that fly to Abu Dhabi and Dubai use polluting buses, and all over the world we are being told the same story, that the temperature rises with CO2 emissions. And will this hit Dubai in its apparently bottomless pocket? Take tourism, a vital part of the economy. So-called commerce marketing might be badly hit and cost Dubai a fortune in lost income. Increased traffic in the sky, at sea and on the roads will add to the problem, and efforts are now being made to reduce emissions. But people here won't be happy. Low and efficient are not common words in Dubai. The smiles may change as passengers dwindle and air pollution increases. You could consider Dubai as a microcosm, or perhaps a megacosm, of planet Earth. Congratulations and welcome to Expo 20. However, from a clean, clear city to one being more like Los Angeles, Beijing or Mexico City. In fact, like most of the industrialized big cities of the world. Yes, congratulations and welcome to Expo 2020. However, Dubai may be by then. Many will come on this airline, and to another yet bigger, the world's biggest of course, with 6 runways at Machu International Airport. When the Sheikh says build it, it gets built. In England, it's taken 2 years discussing just one runway.
No third runway!
So far, the latest cost of just talking about it is over £2 million.
Well, tonight the protesters have pretty much occupied the BAA's car parks here. It's all pretty good-natured, though. The police were taking no chances.
Hurricane emergency. Jamaica's fearful wait as Hurricane Dean gathers pace and sweeps towards its coastline. Tourists are fleeing the country. Locals are stocking up.
Dubai is famous for its gigantic projects, man-made islands like the Palm, the world, and the only, they say, 7-star hotel in the world, with its own helicopter pad, the Burj Al Arab. But will it become an underwater palm? Sea level, sun and dolphins instead of a Ferrari or a family dog. Out there is the world. You can buy your own country. A few have, but dredging has slowed and so far it's not as advanced as they envisaged, including now a plan to air condition whole islands with rain and snow as weather control. Underwater, the weather is looking cloudy. Fish flee. The coastline below and above has been drastically rearranged. Ports too, some of the biggest in the world, receive endless supplies to sustain Dubai. New land, new buildings, new cars, new everything. As David Attenborough has said, a growing population of people consuming even more resources is placing increasing pressure on our planet, driving climate change, pollution, habitat loss and biodiversity declines. We are losing species 1,000 times faster than the natural rate, and we are currently experiencing the greatest extinction crisis since dinosaurs disappeared from our planet 65 million years ago. Never before has one species had such dramatic effect on Earth's natural environment. From pole to pole and from deepest sea to highest mountain, mankind is making its mark. In short, our natural world is under threat as never before. The real underwater world of Dubai is not as busy as this. Perhaps she thinks it is. No, it's a fantasy world called Atlantis, a lost underwater city, complete with pillars and scenic bubbles and lots of fish. And the rich can eat some too, at Machu, notorious for its attitude to a magnificent endangered fish, the bluefin tuna. Once caught by traditional methods, now modern overfishing has caused it to become almost extinct, with expensive restaurants like Machu at the end of the food chain. This bluefin tuna was sold for nearly £43,000. Machu were pressured and apparently stopped buying this unsustainable delicacy. Still sensitive, they stopped us filming. It's the power of publicity. Dubai as a whole is well aware of that. Smog, traffic, not good news. There's a local saying, for poverty to boom and back. My grandfather rode a camel. My father drove a Jeep. I drive a BMW. My son drives a Jeep, and his son will ride a camel. Will sea level rise and flood Dubai and its man-made islands? Like most organisms, it needs sunlight, water, food, and must excrete waste. The more we excrete, the more we are now trying to recycle. In the sea and the air, tough decisions are going to have to be made, especially in Dubai, where its icon is at risk as its real estate wobbles. Cranes, not gulls, still dominate the landscape. That could mean a big shift to solar for all that sunshine, leaving oil and gas under the sea or under the sand. By searching from a satellite, scientists found not a lost city under the sea, like Atlantis, but under the desert, not far from Dubai. The Atlantis of the sands, Ubar. Little remains above the surface today, but some think it collapsed into a huge underground cavern. Visitors are intrigued about its history, but this lost city is believed by some to have been a hotbed of wickedness, its people corrupted by its riches. Sounds familiar? Perhaps another Machu Picchu, Stonehenge, Easter Island, where they ran out of resources, where greed won. Will archaeologists later wonder what happened to Dubai? A lost city in the future, perhaps? The famous poet Shelley wrote,
I met a traveller from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on those lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away.
From the barren sand dunes of the home of the camels, Dubai has become home to thousands and thousands of the human species. Attracted to sandy beaches and what they consider the good life, Dubai style. But is this fast and furious expanding human ecosystem sustainable? Will Dubai heed the warnings from the wild? Other places are learning and preparing for the future. They can see that global resources are limited and that the natural world can be badly damaged. On the other hand, it can be repaired and recover, given the chance, turning losing into winning. The question is, will Dubai help or hinder a better way? Or will the celebrations end one day? when Dubai becomes a ghost city in the desert. Where it all started, before the lights went out.